I'm starting to see a shift in online education, or at least the perception of it. I think people are really starting to see that online education really is the way forward, but I'd say that the vast majority still want to hate online education for some reason. And look, I will say I do understand sort of the public perception around it, but I think things are also starting to change. In the same way Jeff Bezos and Amazon was called a scam for many, many years, and then 10 years later, he looks like the biggest genius on earth. I think the similar sort of thing is going to happen with education. I think, look, at the end of the day, there's only so many times universities and colleges can take the piss and literally ruin people's lives with student loans. I mean, think about it. If you wanted to get a $200K loan at the age of 18 for a business, first of all, maybe 1 in 10,000 would get approved for it. And second, you best believe that it has to be a bulletproof business plan. There has to be a proof of concept, there has to be a business plan, and it has to be an airtight case. Yet any 18-year-old can get a $200K loan in the United States for a liberal arts degree. Oh, what are you gonna do with that degree? I don't know, I'll figure it out. I don't think people realize you actually have to pay back those loans at some point. It's not free funny money. It doesn't just come out of the sky. And it's funny, online education and universities are in two different leagues in terms of the way that they have to conduct themselves. In online education, you have to provide refunds. You have to have a refund policy. Now, I will say there are some refund policies that, in my opinion, aren't very ethical. I see a lot of this like action-based guarantee. If you work 25 hours a day, 8 days a week, and you can prove that you worked every single minute of every single one of those days and hours, then we'll give you a refund. So I just think a lot of those are very manipulative. At Agency Navigator, we have a very simple, no questions asked, 14-day money back guarantee. And yeah, sure, that means that we have, 5-6% refund rate. And I'm totally fine with that. I'm totally fine that, 5-6% of people come in and they realize, oh, you know what, actually this is a little bit more work than I was expecting, or they realize, oh, you know what, actually maybe this way of life or this business model isn't actually for me, or whatever it may be, and I'm very happy with that. So it's just very funny for me to watch the people who call online education a scam, who say that a program that is 1/100th, 1/200th the price of, a college education and, actually give you real tangible skills to make money in the real world, or maybe not even make money, maybe even just get a skill that then means that at your job, you can then command a higher raise and a higher pay. I'm just so passionate about online education, and I think the shift is, I think we're really gonna see it in 2024, 2025, and I think, the people who do things the right way, I think by 2030, they are gonna be heroes. In the same way Jeff Bezos, in 2001, everyone called Amazon a scam. They called, Jeff Bezos an idiot, all this stuff. And then 10 years later, he was literally this business mogul. The same people that were calling him a scam, now think he's this business mogul, this titan. And, unfortunately, that's just the way the world works, especially for people that see ahead of time. They see where things are going. And, for anyone who's been following me for a long time, you would have seen that in 2017, my bio, and, this is way before I had an education company or us actually building full e-learning platform at GYA. My Instagram bio said, I'm on a mission to reform the education system. And this was, as I said, way before I had any program. It's always been something important to me, because for me, education is the way out. I know I got a little emotional earlier on in this video, pull out the world's smallest violin, whatever. I didn't have a dad growing up, okay? Or cry me a river. But maybe my love for online education, maybe I'm just projecting, but I had to learn this shit online. I had to learn everything online. In the first few years of me starting my business, I was buying programs 24/7. Whenever I had extra money, I would buy a program, because I would understand that, okay, let's say it cost, $1,000 or $2,000 or $500. I might learn one small little thing, but that will help me then run my business and grow my business, and and then eventually get to a point where I'm making millions and millions of dollars a year from my businesses. So for me, education has always been something that's important. In fact, my long-term goal, and I'm talking in 10 years time, is definitely not for me to still be teaching. My long-term goal is I basically just want to create something like Masterclass. I don't know if you guys know, but Masterclass is worth $3 billion with a B. $3 billion. And I don't know if you know, but their revenue is something like $140 million a year. It's funny, I could probably turn ads on and run ads 365 days of the year, and GYA would be a $60 million a year company. I have a lot of friends in the education space, and they all shout at me. They're like, bro, you realize you're leaving like tens of millions of dollars on the table because you don't post your program link in any of your videos. You don't mention Agency Navigator in any of your videos. The only time you mention it ever is we do 2 events a year, and then at the end of the event, we give some sort of special offer. And by the way, I don't think I'm gonna run those events anymore, because it's the first time I've overtly, actually explicitly made an offer or sold anything pretty much all year. And it's so funny to see, my team for YouTube, I spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. I have 3 full-time thumbnail editors. You could literally spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year trying to help people, and then if you sell something once, they get angry. Ladies and gents, do you notice there's no sponsors on my videos? I do my utmost best to never sell. Yeah, so to be honest, as I said, I don't think I'm ever gonna run an event because it's just, I like the fact that at GYA, I never have to sell, I never have to talk about it, I never have to, it's just all word of mouth, which is like the most beautiful thing ever. And yes, sure, I could make tens of millions of dollars a year more by going on podcasts, talking about it, having my links everywhere, having all this stuff, but it's not my main business. I love the fact that it's literally just word of mouth. So yeah, anyways, back to my point, masterclass. I really love online education. I know that some people find it very funny that I've built 5 schools in Nepal using the profits from GYA. I know they find it funny because they're like, you love online education, but you build physical schools. And that's because I don't believe online education makes sense for every person. I just think it's a much better alternative to spending tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on college education. So yeah, obviously, my main thing long-term will be my software company, but I'm starting to, I'm really starting to think more and more about building a different version of masterclass. After the first year, maybe even selling a 10 or 20%, even just to lock in the valuation. I think it'd be very, very cool, to have, I think Masterclass has done really, really well. The only issue with Masterclass is they spend so much money on advertising, they're not profitable. Whereas I know how to do this stuff profitably, with an organic audience. So yeah, I guess that's the other thing I noticed in 2022 is I started to see, I think more and more people are starting to realize that online education is more pure. Online education is actually held to standards. So I think it's very beautiful to see that people are coming around and starting to realize that online education is the way forward. So the 6th lesson I learned in 2022, and I guess I've been learning this over the years, but I think it really started to hit home in 2022, was the realities of money and fame. And I want to make something very clear.